Welcome to Beta by the Numbers. I'm FM20 and I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for joining me for this end of season review. I've kind of had to do two saves because I wanted to see what would happen with the kind of, the kind of fluff you get at the end of the season, all the kind of board meetings and things like that and the awards. I wanted to see what was going with that, but I went too far ahead, so I had to come back so I can show you all the stats, because once the kind of league reset happens, all the interesting stuff that you've got here disappears. FM doesn't save a lot of it. So I've come back for this, but I know roughly what I'm going to be planning on doing. B- is what we've been currently given. This will go down to about C once the end of season stuff has all been done, which isn't too bad. We're going to be picked as the overachievers of the season because we managed to finish 8th rather than 10th, which that's all right. That's all right by me to be the overachievers. We've managed to stay up, but there are a few issues for us to deal with, and we can see this through some of the stats. So first of all, our top goal scorer is TJ Hughes, 13 goals. Sounds alright, 13 goals in 22, but those 13 goals are across all competitions. He actually only scored 7 in 22 appearances. He played every league match, and he from the start. I didn't realise at the time, but he played every league match from the start, and he managed 7 goals. So he's a 1 in 3 striker. Just under 1 in 3 actually, only slightly, but technically under. And that was the best we had. And then when we look at actual goals, remember where I've actually put goals on this giant thing here. I think it's down towards here, isn't it? No, it's not. There. My bad. The next highest for goals was Josh Lynch, and then Jordan Arbuthnot, and then Cowan, Duff, McManus, Higginson, all with kind of 2. So there's only one playing double figures, and there's nobody in double figures for the league. That's pretty shoddy. We've had some good performances by Josh Lynch. He's getting lots of man of the match awards and highest average rating. Warwick was providing plenty of assists when he wasn't injured, but we're not prolific enough, really. And you can see that again at the kind of league tables. If you look at goals for, you come down to where we are. 22 goals for. 24 conceded. So if you look at rearrange the table for goals scored, we're the lowest. Even the Bangor, the relegated team, scored more than we did. And the title-winning side had almost twice as many goals as we did. When we look at the against, is it the right way? There we go. So actually only 3 more teams had a better defensive record than us. So 23, 21, 19 across there, including, the title-winning side and the side that's going to get promoted. They get promoted. Spoiler alert from my brief visit to the future. They're going up. So it's kind of clear just from this overall where we need to improve. We need more goals. If we score more goals and keep our defence as it is, we've got a good chance of actually challenging for the title. And you can kind of see that in the schedule at the start. So in this first sort of opening salvo of games, we're getting an XG of about 1.7. But then overall, across the course of the season, it dropped when you take into account all of these to about 1.5, 1.4. We weren't particularly prolific because of this. We couldn't rely on goals, which means we need to create better chances, and the chances we do create, we need to take. Make sure we actually improve. So we're going to have to make a few changes up front. Looking across the rest of the team, there are some changes that are going to be forced on us as well. So McGuckin is going to be leaving. There's a right back and a central midfielder who are going to be leaving from our youth intake. Lewis Higginson, who's on loan, he wasn't terrible actually, got 7.2 average rating in the end. He's going to be leaving on loan too. So we kind of need to revamp the team a little bit and have a look and see who's good, who's not. So using this kind of view, I've had a bit of a look through beforehand, so it's not all a complete surprise to me. But if we look at points won per game, you can see this has actually dropped. There were a few players in mid-season had sort of 2+ for this, but nobody, because our overall point haul went down, managed to achieve that. So Ben Mitchell has got 1.72. So actually for a little while, Ben Mitchell we benched because we didn't think he was playing that well. but actually he's been more consistent since we've given him time. So he's going to be hopefully starting next season. Jordan Arbuthnot has got 1.58, but that kind of reflects the fact he came on as a sub when we were winning quite often. He's only got 5 goals. Can't remember how many appearances he's got. He only got 1 goal and 1 assist in 14 league appearances. Only 3 starts there, but he's probably going to have to go. We're going to have to find better. And then we've got 1.57, 1.55, 1.5, 1.5. So Hines, McCall, Cowan. None of this is particularly impressive. Some of these might have to go anyway. Let's kind of look elsewhere in terms of, we know defensively we're okay. We're not going to need to make too many changes there. Let's have a look at things like key passes per minute, so the ones creating chances, chances created, and then the shots information. So if we look at key passes per 90, got 2.6, 2.1, and 1.83 is the top 3. That's Higginson, Mullahand, and Lynch. So Lynch was one of our star players in centre of midfield after the lift. Mullahand is our left back, who's been putting in some good long balls, and Higginson was just on loan centre of midfield. When you go down to the next number of key passes per 90, you've got Clark and Warwick. So Clark on the right hand side in that full back position, Warwick had been playing on the left as well. So we know we've got some good players getting some good passes in there. They're probably all going to stay. Apart from Higginson is leaving. We might see if we can bring him back if we need to, but he's probably going to be going. If we look at the amount of assists per 90, because we're not very prolific, this isn't a big number. So 0.33, 0.22. And again, when you look across, Warwick, Higginson, standing out in particular. Duff and Hughes have got a few assists where they set things up for each other, but again, not a huge amount, like 2 and 4. Very difficult to kind of judge them on that. Chances per 90, so you're getting 0.5, 0.4, and 0.2. And again, Mullahand with the highest one because he's pinging those balls in from the fullback position. And then Duff, who's in that poacher or pressing forward role. And then Higginson, Lynch, McManus. So nothing particularly standing out there in terms of who would expect to be best, just that number. All these numbers for assists, the chances, the key passes, these are all quite low. We need to kind of improve them if we can. But it doesn't fall entirely on the people making the passes. This is why you have to kind of watch the matches, but in a kind of hoofball approach, it's not simply about whether the pass is good, but whether the person that the pass is to manages to actually do anything with it, and whether they take it down, whether they position themselves kind of appropriately. We've seen that with some of the kind of mapping things, that this isn't exactly working for us. The balls are coming in, but sometimes we can see in some of the videos we've actually recorded, some of these interesting kind of long balls go in, but somebody's not quite running onto them because they're not fast enough, they're not fit enough, or they're not positionally kind of aware enough. So we look at, say, schedule. Let's have a look at I'm trying to think of one where we had a reasonable amount of shots but still lost. I think it might be in this one. Yeah, so 10 shots. You look at the analysis, the teams. Load it up. It's just going to take a second. Clear all this. Belfast Celtic. Look at the passes. Lots of key passes coming in. These are all long ones. These are all fitting that pattern that we want. They're all getting in there. In terms of chances created, again, they're coming from long passes. There's just not that many of them. And if we look at some of the combinations, we don't want all of these combinations, but if you look at someone like Mullahand, Clark. So Mullahan's connecting to Duff, but a lot of this is coming from throw-ins. These aren't coming from these long balls. Duff's not getting in a position on this left-hand side for Mullahand, at least to pass to. And if we can see, no passes here as far as I can see from Mullahand across the field to Hughes. So on the right-hand side, we're talking Clark potentially the Hughes. There we go. And a couple are coming here from the throw-in. There's only one long one who manages to get to Hughes. And there's this one here as well, but this is within our own half. This isn't any use to us, really. So Hughes, again, the target man, he's only receiving from this fullback who's meant to be passing a lot of these balls to him. He only gets one of these through, these completed passes. If we look at other players on the right and the left, so let's say Warwick on the left to Duff, again, none of these are long passes in. They're all short passes. We look at Lamb to Hughes. There we go. Lamb's getting more in here, so Hughes is positioning himself a little bit better for this. It's not perfect, but at least there are some longer ones. This is... Look at this highlight. A throw-in or something? No, that is a long pass there, yep. That is fine. So generally the pattern we're seeing there, from just looking from that one match, is Duff's not getting a position. Mulholland, we can see from his overall squad view and stats, he's getting a reasonable amount of key passes in. Key passes per 90. He's doing it. He's the second highest for key passes per 90. 2 key passes in, but none of them are going to Duff. Duff is just not in that position for him. So we need someone who's more intelligent, who's better running, stronger on that side to pick up those balls. Likewise with the balls from Warwick. Warwick's there in a supporting role. He should be crossing from deep as well, but he's not getting anything from Duff. There's more going on down the right with the target man, and there's less going on to that poacher or pressing forward role where they should be there running onto those balls or getting through, and it's just not happening. So I think it's more a case of Duff being the issue. So now I've said that, I've actually taught myself out of keeping Duff in the team. I think Duff's just going to have to go. We're going to have to bring in someone better for them. And we're going to make some improvements, but we've got to make them up front. We need players who are better at getting in position, better at making the runs, who are stronger on the ball, who can offer more of an outlet, this kind of long sort of ball opportunities. Something else we might want to consider with this, once the season starts, is maybe changing this role again. So we've gone for a deep line playmaker to try and ping balls over the top. But this hasn't worked as intended because Duff wasn't getting there. So I think a lot of these balls will have gone to Hughes rather than to Duff. And again, if we have a look at the schedule, we can try and double check this. Let's look at the Mayola match again as well. Oh, apparently the highlights are just going on in the background no matter what. Look at the passes, look at the combinations. Let's look, we want Lynch. Oh, Lynch was in there. Just making sure I've not missed him. Yeah, so Lynch is here. In terms of combinations, the only person he's getting it to is Warwick. So Lynch is laying it off to Warwick, and Warwick is then playing it short to people like Duff. If we look at anything else for Warwick on here. So Warwick to Duff, we've already shown short passes. And these aren't all the passes, but these are the kind of combinations between the two, and it's just not the long balls that we're expecting. Whereas Hines, who's playing over in the central midfield positions, getting slightly longer balls through to Hughes. Connor McCall, he's getting through to Hughes. Clark is. Let's see if there's anyone else doing these kind of long balls. Lamb obviously doing it. I don't think there's anything else really for us to look at in there. When you look at the kind of combination, taking it all into account, there's a lot of interesting short triangles. There's less in the way of big long balls when you look at the average and the aggregate over there. And again, key passes, they're there, but they're coming from Lamb. They're coming from Clark. They're coming from Clark again. Mulholland. Even Darren Murphy's getting involved there. Stephen Duff put one in himself. but he's not on the receiving end then. So actually these long balls are coming in, but they're not going to the appropriate runners for this. So we need to improve there. That's where we will get more goals. So that's the plan. Using their stats, that's what we're going for. In terms of everything else stats-wise, because I know I'm going on a little bit, we've got £159 in the bank. We're projected for this to go to about 102. This will get even lower. This will be about 150 by the time the season kicks over and we look at the projection for this coming season. It's getting gradually worse. There's nothing we can really do about this unless we get a good player, a youth intake, something like that, we produce and then goes on and plays somewhere else and we get paid compensation for it. Until we can get to a level where we actually sign them on proper semi-professional contracts where they're protected, this will carry on happening. We'll just carry on losing money, we won't be able to make any. But we will get there. Promotion or two, we'll start being profitable, I think, because we're keeping within kind of boundaries. £522 per week, we're spending £360, and this is notional. This is £360 if we had to pay all our appearance fees possible. That's like the highest combination of appearance fees I think we'd have to pay for that. So financially, we're in the position where we can get rid of some players and bring some in. We've got a little bit of room. We can make a few offers for some decent wages. We just need to do our cull, which we'll come back for in a minute or two. So we're at the business end of the season. We've made some transfers. Well, I say we've made some transfers. There's been some signings, some ins and outs here and there. I noticed down here our wage budget we seem to be spending over. Need to shift a player or two, I think. We're not actually paying £670 per week. That's just what it would be if everyone, had an appearance. But it is a little bit higher than it should be. We do need to try and bring that down if we can. In terms of who we've brought in, actually I'll just show you kind of on the transfers first. So you've got Curtis Dempster. So Curtis Dempster is playing for Brantwood. He is rated as being something like 80, 82, something like that. He's meant to be a reasonable striker, 6'1", can play target man, can play poacher, pressing forward, advance forward. Not necessarily as well, but he can fit into those sort of roles. And he does have a scoring record of sorts. Like, he's not terrible. But he's also not particularly great either, is he, if you look at him like that. But he's got potential. He's good off the ball as well. Reasonable acceleration, stuff like that. Good heading is what we need. We've also brought in, these are all strikers basically. We've not signed anyone who's not a striker. Dempster is on £90 per appearance. He's going to get higher because we've got Dare Rooney. So Dare Rooney, good finishing, first touch heading, good off the ball, reasonable acceleration and pace, a bit shorter. Was rated even more highly. This again, not an amazing goal scoring record, but actually a little bit better than the goal scoring record for Dempster. But he looks like he's going to be able to fit into the same kind of roles as well if we need him to. And then we've got Mallet and we've got Fox. So Dare Rooney is on £250 per appearance. This is where the bulk of our wage budget's actually going when it gets spent. Mallet, on the other hand, 10 finishing, 10 heading, 12 off the ball, looks reasonable. And Fox, he's got 13 dribbling, 13 finishing, 9 heading, reasonable composure, he's off the ball as well, as good. These are both on £20 per appearance. So basically, if Rooney doesn't do well in the first 5 games, I'll release him because he's costing us too much money. In terms of who else we've got in the squad, we've called up Jude from our youth intake. We've also got Niall Gordon from our youth intake. Connor Donnelly from our youth intake. He's going to slip straight into that right back position. And I think that's about it. Oh, David Davidson as well, we brought up from our youth intake to the kind of right hand side. We've also got a couple of midfielders in the under 18s like Paul Allen, Jonah McComb, Pat Adamson. We could all bring through if we need to. And in defence, we've also got Kelly, Coulter, and Finlay as well, who could all potentially come into cover there. And we've got White and Jared O'Kane in our reserves as backup for the keeper, so we're kind of okay. In terms of sort of contracts, let's see if it says how much they're getting paid per appearance. Is anyone getting paid per appearance on there? No, we're going to have to add it, aren't we, as a thing. And then tell it to auto-size all. So Rooney and Dempster are the big appearance fees you can see there. Then Connor McCall as well. And actually, Connor McCall, although he's important, he's 6'3". What did he do last season? 6.94. Well, he's good. We do actually have a range of other options in place of him who could potentially replace him as well. So we have the room to get rid of some players and clean up the budget a little bit if we need to. Striker-wise as well, I think I'm probably going to release Cowan and potentially release Arbuthnot as well. They both had chances last season. They didn't do particularly well. We've got Mallet and we've got Fox in. Instead, they can't do much worse. I think Cowan and Arbuthnot got 6 goals between them last season, not including league appearances. So, to be honest, we can lose them and save how much? 20. We could save £45 by getting rid of them, which will help a little bit. So I'll probably do that before the next match. But thanks very much for watching. We're going to come back for our first League Cup match in the next episode and see how we're doing tactically and with the team, and whether we can get any joy from there and get into a kind of winning ways as soon as possible. And then we'll carry on with the season as best we can. We might have fewer updates, so if it looks like we're going to need to restart the season because of any sort of say patch updates, but because of anything that's changed between now and the release, then I'll just see out the season, do a little summary, and that'll be the end of the series. But if there's no major issues, then we'll carry on as normal. Thanks very much. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, or come and talk to me on Twitter at FM Tahiti. Thanks.